Hi guys, I'm Dr. Anne and this is the Health Hub. Welcome to the third part of the death series, and I hope you've enjoyed the two past videos that I already posted. So basically in this video I'll be going through the third part where I touch on death as a more senior doctor. I also touch on the medico-legal aspects attached to someone dying, and that. So basically, as a medical officer, you are deemed as a person who is capable and able. You went through 6 years of medical school, 2 years of internship, 1 year conserve. You have done your 9 years worth of work, and that is seen as something that is enough, and hence why even HPCSA, or basically our board, after conserve you are registered as a medical officer, as an independent type medical officer. So it is at this point where you can either open your GP practice, you can continue working in public, you can do whatever because you are independent. Okay, so that is what happens as a medical officer. And in some institutions you might lead or even be on call with interns because you are more senior now, like you have more experience. So basically the annoying thing about being a medical officer is, besides the fact that now there's so much responsibility that's attached to the job title, there's a lot of things that you are having to face and go through. So death as a medical officer is a bit harder. I think it's the types of deaths that cause doctors to end up, falling into substance use, or not only substance use but also depression, because you sort of, I don't know, like you sort of put yourself in you put so much, I won't say blame, but there's so much guilt that comes with death, that comes with death when you're already a medical officer. And it's not only things that are put on you by your colleagues, but also by you on yourself. And that whole thing of, self-doubt and judgment can play a role in messing up with your mental health. And unfortunately, it's something that comes with a job, and it's very unfortunate. I already mentioned that our career, we all joined medicine because we wanted to save lives. And the reality of the situation is that not all lives get saved. And sometimes, even after doing everything, you still don't save a life. Like, someone still dies. So I think it's something that we all come to terms with, and we have to accept that we are not givers of life. Some hospitals or clinics or whatnot are not equipped. And therefore, even if you could have done something, you're unable to do it because there's no resources available. So you sort of have to live with the fact that you do what you can with what you have, and have to sort of accept that it's not an indication of your skill, and that basically you worked with what you were given. And that is something that takes a lot, and you have to sort of come to terms with accepting the fact that there's nothing that can be done in some instances. But sometimes you really can't help yourself but give it your all, and sometimes there's emotion attached to that. Literally go through all the steps of grief, basically, of being in denial, also like denial, all of that, like guilt. And what can worsen the guilt is sometimes colleagues. And there's deaths where when children and pregnant ladies die, let me tell you, you will see the wrath of the whole system, the whole management. Child and maternal deaths matter because they are an indication of the functionality or the quality of the whole healthcare that is given, of the quality of the healthcare that is given by that institution. And it's one of the measures that are used in health in general. And let me tell you, when a child or a mother or a maternal, like a pregnant woman, dies, shit hits the fan. Like, they take it so seriously, it is not even a joke. It becomes a blame game and a fight. And these are things that maybe people from outside, if you're not in the health sector, you don't know about this. Some people, if you're still a student, this is something to be aware of and be careful about, that when it comes to those two communities specifically, you have to document everything. For medical legal purposes, for everything, you have to document, and you have to sort of be extra careful. Yes, our job is very, very tiresome. We work long hours, but to combat that, the important thing to do is ask a friend. Don't be afraid to also ask someone with a fresh mind call a friend, Gonje, like, what is this, or what is that, to build that community, to assist, because sometimes you get tired. Sometimes it's the early hours of the morning and your brain is not functioning as it should, and there's some things, and you might have lapses in judgment, but that's normal. You're only human. There's no one who's meant, even machines have faults. There's no one who literally can function like that and still be able and capable mentally after so many hours of work. So our job is actually hard because we also get scrutinized, not only by family members who are upset at the death of their loved one, but also we get scrutinized, and we scrutinize each other as doctors in the field. Let's talk about colleagues. If there's people who can put you in a frying pan and literally just watch you burn and roast, it's colleagues. And the unfortunate thing about the whole thing here, colleagues, is that, hi guys, it's almost like Umto forgets that they also could have been in that situation. Good morning meeting. You would be shocked the things that happened there. Someone would be like, oh, this and this happened. Go find the file. Like, literally, they open your file, they see your nose, like scrutiny. And the weird or just surprising thing that happens is that, obviously, you know, after every, I see it now, I'm still working in ONG, that every maternal death, like, they ask, that's why ONG is not a nice specialty to go into, even in the future, in terms of specializing, because of the medical legal implications that come with it. So it makes it sort of like difficult for people to like the specialty or even to enjoy it. And back when I like the blame game from colleague to colleague now, like, even now I'm still in ONG, already said, and whenever there's a maternal death, at the end of it, they ask things like, what could have been done better, or what was missed, yeah, because then, you know, people get like, people end up giving birth to kids with cerebral palsy, all those things, problems that happen during labor and whatnot. So there's a lot of things that can happen literally, yeah. So at the end of them, case, yeah, flipped it upside down, inside out. There's a question that is asked from basically the senior person or the consultant to the doctors, basically. And that question is, what could have been done better, or could this death have been prevented or avoided? Yabo? Haike Ziakal. When it comes to that part, like, why didn't you do this? Oh, you could have done that. Obviously, speaking from outside looking in, it's easy to be on some, this could have been done, this could have been avoided, this could have been done. Whereas when you are inside the fire, talk, let us hear what you could have done. Because that's what I'm saying, whenever you're in the fire and you are feeling the pressure and go rough, it's better to get seniors involved. It's better to have consultants involved. But sometimes some people don't have such luxuries because they are in hospitals in rural areas and they don't have support. And from that, in as much as, yes, it's constructive sometimes, and you can pick up that, okay, next time I'm gonna do this, next time I'm gonna make sure I double check the blood pressure, next time I'm gonna make sure I double check the urine and recheck the bloods or whatever, you know. That whole thing of doing that can also be a bit toxic, and it can make you sort of doubt yourself as the doctor, or feel bad about, you know, the whole situation, or feel worse about the situation. And this is how some people end up depressed, guys, because you can literally easily fall into that, and it's really, really possible for one to fall into that. I think, Nyani, like Twitter says, we have to also be kinder to each other, you know, especially in those situations. In as much as we want to be constructive, okay, I'm going to do this, next time, but also do it in a kind of fashion, like, you know, a constructive, not a that's breaking down someone. If you're already a doctor and you've had any experiences of people dying on you, or maybe things that you missed, or things that you should have, you know, looked into, whatever. So many things that also come into play. But either way, it still doesn't change the fact that you feel bad as a person who was in charge of the patient. So basically, those are some of the things that we're having to deal with as doctors. Some doctors end up going to court. Some doctors end up getting scrutiny, not only of the whole, you know, managerial system in the hospital. So these are the things that, you know, as medical students, you have to be aware of. Write everything down. If you discuss with a senior, write discussed with a senior if you're a junior, so that you say that this person said that I must do this, or I must say this, or I must do this. Also, the important thing also that I didn't touch on is the medico-legal aspects when it comes to people maybe dying, or in murder cases, being subpoenaed to court to go discuss certain issues. Technically, as junior doctors, we are not meant to be subpoenaed. We are not meant to go give our opinion or medical opinion, because technically we're still under contractual basis and are still too junior to do or give out opinions. But sometimes if you had seen a patient, you will get subpoenaed. I know so many of my friends have gotten subpoenaed, be it sexual assault cases, be it murder or death cases, or attempted murder cases. But in those instances, normally they'll contact, or you'll go with your consultant who will give their specialist opinion, or they'll read your notes. Sometimes they want to see you personally and want to see you have to answer. But unfortunately, if you are already a medical officer in such cases or instances, you have to go speak for yourself. And also in terms of like giving out opinion, I wasn't, I was told don't really, like, even when it comes to signing things off J88, you have to sort of be made like legally correct type vibes, like you, like, in terms of if someone got beat up and raped and clinically they had signs and everything. So in the end, even your conclusion has to be a conclusion that's not really a conclusion type vibes. Like, features on clinical exam are in keeping with the history given by the patient, or suggestive of a history, or more likely suggestive of a history given by the patient. So you're sort of like saying it, but you're not really saying it. So those are the types of things that we're also having to go through and have to answer to. If you've experienced any of these, or you find any of these helpful, maybe things you still have to go through in your future, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Also, if you just found it interesting and you're not even part of the field, but it's just something interesting to know that doctors go through, make sure you like. Also, show your thumbs. Also just write your experiences. I'll sure to answer of things that you've seen happen, things that you've heard, things you want to confirm. I will definitely answer those comments. Thanks for watching. I will catch you on my next video. Bye.